good afternoon. Whenever you may be listening to us, we hope it is good. Welcome to Geeks Who Like Sports, episode number 17. As always, I'm Ray Carcillo in Los Angeles, joined by my best buddy in Philadelphia, Lee Elias. Lee, how's it going today, buddy?
Ray, why do you say Philadelphia with a down tone? You're like Los Angeles and Lee's in Philadelphia.
Well, because one is the city of angels. It's bright and lovely, and it's always warm and sunny, and you're in Philly. Which is not those things.
Well, I was in a good mood. I'm not going to do the typical, when's the last time you won a Super Bowl thing. That's not fair. That's a stupid argument. I wouldn't do that to you, Ray. Wouldn't do that to you, right? And you're not an LA Rams fan, so I can't do anything about that.
No, I'm not a Rams fan.
Ray, I'm doing great today. It's good to be here with you. I always love doing Geeks Who Like Sports. It's episode number 17?
17, yes. We are on episode 17.
17. We're about a month away from going to PAX West on August 30th in Seattle. We have a 9:30 p.m. Panel over there at PAX West in Seattle on Friday night. I'm really excited about that. If you haven't heard about that, you just did, so that's good to know. And we are going through this aggressive expansion, and it's working. People are really starting to follow us. We have put the podcast on 600,732.6 different platforms for you to listen to us on, and we expect you all to listen to each one every week.
Yeah. Maybe not each one, but definitely a few for sure.
Okay.
Hopefully.
Okay.
Yeah, no.
Just at least one.
Yes,
at least one.
At least one.
Okay.
But the big news, of course, in the aggressive expansion is we're now on Spotify. So that's the newest
big.
one.
It's big.
So
and Google.
Yeah, so we're on Google Play Podcasts, obviously still iTunes or Apple Podcasts now, and SoundCloud. Right. Others, go to the website, geekswholikesports.com. You can see the whole list
YouTube.
there. We are on YouTube. Yeah, we are aggressively expanding. It's very, very exciting time for us. And in honor of that, we have a very exciting show today. We've got a lot to get
good
to.
segue.
Thank you, sir.
We're good at this.
We're starting off with some television. We're talking about the Amazon Prime exclusive show, The Boys. Funny enough, when I was at Comic-Con, I saw their red carpet a little bit. Carl Urban and the gang walking down the red carpet there at Comic-Con, which was really interesting. I have yet to see the show, although I am very, very intrigued by it because I don't have an Amazon Prime account. But Lee, you have seen it. You binged it. You could not stop watching it. Tell us about The Boys.
Well, first I want to comment on the fact that you don't have an Amazon Prime account somehow.
I am poor.
Well, now at least I know what to get you for your birthday.
Yeah.
No, listen, so I did watch the entire series, which is a good sign. For me to binge watch something with my schedule is not easy to do. So I watched it over the course of a week. I loved it when the trailer came out. I knew it was something I wanted to see. And I kind of had an idea in my head. By the way, this is a spoiler-free review. I'm not gonna give anything away. So if you haven't seen it yet, don't worry. I'm not gonna ruin it for you. But I kind of had an idea in my head of what I wanted to see. When you watch a trailer, you're hoping for something, and it far exceeded that expectation, which is very rare nowadays. So, again, the synopsis of the show, without giving anything away, is just that superheroes exist in the world. And that because they're all powerful, they can kind of do whatever they want. And there's this kind of this facade that they're superheroes, that they're just all good. And this show dives into, as the trailer shows, that they just do a lot of bad stuff because they can, and that someone has to keep them in line. And the story unravels about how Kyle Urban and Meg Ryan and Dennis Quaid's kid, who I can't remember his name, he's the other main character in this. But you know who those two people are.
Yeah.
Look, I'll put it this way: he's going to be well known after this show. He did a great job. As well, but about these people just kind of keeping the superheroes in line. So that's about as far as I can go without giving anything away. But here's what I'll tell you. It is captivating. They really got the superhero aspect of it correct. It has a very cool Watchmen-type aura to it, but with more humor. Right, okay. So Watchmen is very dark, right? And yeah. It is. The whole thing behind Watchmen is dark. It's the kind of doomsday type atmosphere. And this kind of was the Watchmen without the doomsday side of it, right? So it's dark in the sense of dark things happen, but it's always completely worked in with humor. So it's like you kind of bounce back and forth, and it's fun. But I'll tell you this, right? There's twists in the show that I was not expecting. And as you know, being my friend, it's very, very hard to fool me
Yes.
or to twist something that I don't see coming. It's just that comes from writing and producing and things like that. But there were 3 or 4 twists in the show I did not see coming, which was great. And I love that. I love that when I can be surprised. I mean, that means the writing is really good.
Yeah.
Right? And then the other cool thing about it is, again, not giving anything away, is like the plots and the subplots are really, you can tell, rooted in a comic book type way. And what I mean by that is, if you don't read comic books, you might, and I always find this argument hilarious, but if you don't read comic books, you might find the show ridiculous. But like, which it's ridiculous. You'd think that if you're watching a show about superheroes in the first place. But what I'm saying is, like, if you've read a lot of comic books or you're in that world, the twists and the turns are exactly kind of what would happen in a comic book. Now, the show is based off a comic book, too. I should say that. DC didn't directly own it, but they owned the company that put it out at one point. So this show does have a comic book roots. I didn't even know about that till it came out, that there was a book behind it.
Yeah, actually, I didn't even realize that either. I did not know that either.
Yeah.
So
it does have comic roots. The heroes, quote unquote heroes, the superpower beings, they call them soups in the show, are really well done. There's a diverse range of powers. And then it's just, the show is just not afraid to make fun of itself. It's really good. It's really good. I'm highly recommending this show. If you're listening to this show, I'm highly recommending this show because it is a rated R type show, by the way. So it's not something you're gonna watch with your kids. It has just the perfect amount of gore in it, including the first episode has a scene. I mean, and again, if you watch enough trailers, you might know what I'm talking about. But like it's just, you're in it, man. You're in it. There's something deeper beneath the surface when you watch it. The acting is extremely good, right? Like a lot better than I thought it was going to be. I enjoyed it, and it's very rare that I get to say that with TV shows nowadays, where I binge watch something and I enjoyed it. And Ray, you know this too, is that I tend not to watch first seasons of shows. Right. Just because, like, my attitude is that things get canceled so quickly today that it's like, I don't want to invest myself in characters and in 1-2 seasons it gets canceled. But I believe this has already been renewed for season 2, and I can tell the show's going to probably go for a while, 3 to 5 seasons, I would guess. Right. And Elizabeth Shue is in it. Obviously, Carl Urban.
Carl.
The guy from Ragnarok's in it, and Star Trek, and Lord of the Rings, and
Judge Dredd. He's
been in a lot of comic movies now. I'm thinking
Star Trek, Judge Dredd, Ragnarok,
Lord of the Rings.
Yeah,
that's good for him. He's a friend.
One of us.
Yeah, one of us. He was really good in it. And then what I loved also is the superheroes are all. They're all actors that have had a career, but they're not well-known actors, right? So like the main superhero, Homelander, who is obviously based off of Superman,
right?
It's really fun to kind of watch him unravel, and I don't mean unravel like he loses his mind. That's not, again, you have to watch. That's not what I mean. I mean his story, like the onion peel coming down, is really good. It's really well done. I've been talking about it for 5 minutes. So if you haven't seen it, go see The Boys on Amazon Prime. I'm going to buy it for Ray as an early birthday present tomorrow because Ray, actually, listen, for those of you who don't know Ray doesn't go to the movies that often. He sees all the movies eventually, but doesn't get to go that much. Yeah. Okay, the movies are not, that's really more my thing than his thing. Same thing with TV. A lot of this comes down to schedule. That's fair, right?
Yeah, it comes down to scheduling, and that's part of the reason why I play so many video games is that I can do that late in the evening or early in the morning and kind of get my that fix in. Whereas it's
you
hard.
and I are on. Yeah, we're on different sides of geekdom, meaning that like we're in all of it, but what Ray excels at is not my area, and what I kind of jumping onto is not his area. Full time is what I'm trying to say. Right. So when Ray recommends a game to me, I play the game. Yeah. When I recommend a TV show to Ray or a movie, he typically goes to see it. And I'm telling you, Ray, this is worth seeing. I really will buy you Amazon Prime to watch this. That's the next level. And speaking of that, it's going to be interesting to see how HBO counteracts this with The Watchmen.
I was thinking when you mentioned Watchmen, I was thinking the exact same thing. Is that we have Watchmen coming to HBO in the fall? It's supposed to be taking place well after the original
today.
books.
It takes place now, apparently. Yeah.
Right, exactly. In modern times.
They did tease Dr. Manhattan in the last trailer.
Yeah, I mean, and you got a star-studded cast there: Jeremy Irons, Don Johnson. Like you have a lot of big names in that cast. It'll be interesting to see, how that. Right. What kind of plays better? Is it the dark laden superhero stuff with a bit of humor, or is it going to be just the straight dark dramatic action series that I think that Watchmen is going for. So it's going to be very interesting to
we'll see
which one kind of emerges as more popular. Obviously, I'm not sure about numbers. I think HBO might have a bigger potential base audience.
I don't know, man. They have a problem right now. They have a problem. They're losing subscribers by the day. Now HBO Max is going to be launching soon. So again, you're starting to see the convergence here. We predicted this a while ago. A lot of people did, but you're starting to see the convergence has happened. Hulu has teamed up with Disney Plus. So they're funny enough saying that Disney Plus is an add-on for Hulu, which I think is like it's kind of the other way around to me. But like Hulu and Disney Plus are teaming up. HBO and it's Warner Brothers are teaming up, right? So they're all
owned by the same company. Yeah, they're all owned by AT&T.
I'm sorry, in terms of an app is what I'm trying to say.
Oh yeah.
So absolutely correct. But I'm saying like HBO Max is going to have Warner Brothers and HBO together, right? Hulu is going to have Disney Plus and Hulu together. Netflix is probably going to find something too. But
find something or get bought by somebody. Yeah.
After Game of Thrones ended, I know HBO lost a ton of subscribers.
Yes.
Here's HBO's problem: is they're not getting the cable audience is dying very quickly.
Yeah.
It's just going away. So their content's gonna have to get awesome, and that's really why they dragged Game of Thrones out so long to keep those people from leaving HBO. Side note, the best HBO content, which I can talk about in the show, is Real Sports is really good, although I really can't stand Brian Gumbel, but Real Sports is a really good show. They do a lot of great sports content, which I like as well.
Yeah. Last week tonight with John Oliver is really good.
Yeah. They have some great stuff on there too, but
it's
the
not
heyday
of
HBO has passed.
Yeah, it's not enough to make you subscribe. I think is the real thing. I mean, and that too. And with movies being on demand, the idea of a home box office, the idea of being able to get these movies through HBO, it just doesn't make sense anymore. It just doesn't work.
Well, here's a little nostalgia for you. Anybody listening to this show who's 30 or up, we all remember sitting around the TV Sunday nights for whatever the HBO premiere was, where they fly you through the city into the big O in space.
Yeah.
And I will spare you all me singing the song, but I can hear it in my head right now. You can look that up if you don't know what I'm talking about. Just look at HBO Sunday night premiere song. I told you I wasn't gonna, but I did. HBO, and then it was like Batman the movie or something like that in 1989. Anyway, so we're straying away from the topic, but yeah, that's a lot of stuff that's happening. The Boys was definitely worth seeing. I do at some point also want to tap on really quickly, if I can do it right now, Ray. Once Upon a Time in Hollywood.
I was about to say, speaking of movies and home box office and all this, it's you also got to go to the movies this week, and
I did. Very rare, yes, but I did.
I've been wanting to see this. I've been a little deterred because I've heard it's a very long Tarantino movie. It's almost 3 hours. But
I've got comments on that, but yeah.
But yes, Once Upon a Time in Hollywood. Which basically I think has had everybody in Hollywood in it, from what I understand as well.
From the late 60s, yeah.
Yeah. So tell me, what did you think? Give us your Geeks Who Like Sports review of Once Upon a Time in Hollywood.
So it was great. Okay, it was great. But this is what I'm going to say, and this is why I don't understand some of the criticism. Some of this politically correct criticism is really bugging me. Okay, because it's like, the type of movie Tarantino makes. This is my review. It's a frickin' Tarantino movie. Okay, if you want to know what to expect, it's a Tarantino movie. And you either get that or you don't. I really mean that. So if you've never seen a Tarantino movie, I mean this. If you've never seen a Quentin Tarantino movie, you're probably not going to like this.
Yeah,
you probably won't, because this movie was a swan song to every movie he's ever made.
Yeah.
Right. So you like Easter eggs? In this movie, there is an Easter egg to every movie he's ever made. It's incredible. So that's one thing. Number two is the style of filmmaking is Quentin Tarantino. We're talking about a director here. This is why I get so annoyed with these reviews, right? Because it's like people just fundamentally misunderstand this guy as a director. I'm not talking about him as a person. As a person, he's an asshole. Like, I have no problem saying that. All right. I mean, he's just not. I don't think he's a great person. All right. But I'm talking about his ability to make films. Cinematically, cinematography, editing, post production, and the way he's able to draw these actors to him. He is one of the, and I'm saying this, he's one of the best directors I've ever seen, and his films are the most engaging cinematically I have ever seen. He's never made a film that I wasn't watching with my eyes wide open, okay? Right. In terms of the length, that's the only thing I might be able to give you. It was a little bit long, but it's a Tarantino movie. So, here's the thing. People, you can't, Ray, you'll laugh at this. You can't argue the chronology of a Tarantino film because they don't work that way ever.
Yeah.
Right? Like, the Tarantino films do not follow the same rules of time.
Yeah, it's very rare that there's a beginning,
film.
middle, and end. Most of the it's always jumping around. You're getting multiple viewpoints and everything. Yeah.
Yes. And this
staple.
is what I'm saying. It's a Tarantino movie. So naturally, in the middle of it, and again, this is not a spoiler, in the middle of it, there's a 6-month jump in time. Like, just out of nowhere, just happens. You know what I mean? So, and again, I'm not giving anything away by telling you that. It's one of those things where it's like, did you ever see Death Race?
Actually, no, I haven't.
I'm sorry, not Death Race, Death Proof. I apologize. So that's one of his movies. That was the Eli Roth double film that he did.
Right. Yeah.
Right. So again, I won't give it away, but that movie is like 2 movies within a movie. And the thing is, the way he builds that movie, and I'm telling you this for a reason, he builds up all these characters in the first half, and he I don't want to tell you what happens. He builds up all these characters in the first half, and then the second half of the movie is a completely different set of characters, except for one person. Right?
Yeah, you have your one through line.
Yeah, exactly. Right? And so what I'm trying to say is this, and this is the best way I can describe it. It is a Quentin Tarantino movie. If you like Quentin Tarantino movies, you will love this movie. 2, it is a swan song to every movie he's ever made. So there's a lot of callbacks, not directly, but to his other films that you can look for.
Well, because this, in a lot of ways, they're saying this is probably going to be his last film unless he does he does that Star Trek film, which I don't think is going to happen.
That's not going to happen. No.
Yeah.
Okay. 3, this is the best representation of the late 1960s Los Angeles that I've ever seen. I really felt like I was in the late 60s. Okay. 4, the story surrounds actual events in Hollywood, but it's the Tarantino way where you're watching actual things that happened through his characters.
Yeah.
Right? And again, I can't go too much more into that without giving things away. I will tell you this, Ray. This is what I will tell you. The last 20 minutes of this movie, like when you get to the climax,
right?
This is true. I was legit clapping, laughing. I mean, I was almost standing up. Like, that's how happy I was with the way this was going.
Okay.
Right? Like, I was giddy in my seat. I was literally clapping, laughing in the middle of the film. Okay? Which is exactly what Quentin Tarantino does.
Yeah.
All right? Like I said, every film he's had has something like that where you just jump up at, like, this is awesome, right? Unless you're, like, sensitive and can't deal with violence or, then, like, oh, Ray, my camera fell.
Oh, no.
I'm back up. That's right. That's twice it's fell today. We always have something on the show where something happens. Maybe that's the geek gods telling me to move on. But look, this is my final thought on it. If you get a chance to see it, if you love Quentin Tarantino, go see this because he's kind of perfected his own art, if that makes sense. You know what I mean by that?
Yes.
And this movie really did this. Here's the other thing about the length of the movie. You can go to the bathroom in it. Just go to the bathroom. There's plenty of times in this movie you can go. You don't really miss anything. Okay, just don't miss the ending. Not to mention phenomenal performances. Phenomenal from Leonardo DiCaprio, Brad Pitt, Harley Quinn. All right, she did a great job in this as well. What's her name?
Margot Robbie.
Okay.
And what's funny though is that there is also Harley Quinn Smith is also in this, Kevin Smith's daughter. So.
Yes, that's true, and I actually know who she plays. Right?
Yeah.
There's a lot of big name actors in this. A lot of returning cast from his old movies. Samuel L. Jackson's in it.
Oh, I didn't realize that.
Yeah, nobody did. So I saw him. I'm telling you this so you look for him because if you don't know to look for him, you'll miss him.
Yeah,
I'm serious. Like that's how insignificant his role is. I mean, he's literally sitting at a table and you would not even know. I mean that, but he's in it, right? Not to mention some of the actors from his very early films are in this as well. So do not listen to the reviews on this film. Okay, if you like, again, I'm gonna say it for the 5th time. If you like Quentin Tarantino films, you will like this film. If you do not like his films or you have not seen his films, you will not like this film most likely. It is not the normal cinematic rules. It is not a Marvel movie. Okay, you are not going to have like a beginning, middle, and end type experience. I mean, it has that, but does not follow the normal rules of filmmaking, and it is brilliant in the only way that Quentin Tarantino can make films brilliant. So that's my review. Go see it if you like those types of movies.
Nice. Well, speaking of Marvel, now we're moving on to something that I've consumed this week, but Lee has yet to. Moving into video games, Marvel Ultimate Alliance 3 for the Switch, an exclusive.
Yes. Yes.
So, for those of you who don't know, Marvel Ultimate Alliance, of course, it was a series that kicked off almost 15 years ago now. They came out with 2 games. One was about Civil War, and the other one was about just all the Marvel folks coming together, and they teased Galactus at the end, actually, which of course never came to fruition. Nintendo, this is a series that a lot of folks, myself included, have been clamoring for something to come back to, because the team that did this also did the X-Men Legend games. It was from Activision and whatnot. So I was particularly excited for this, and I'm not going to lie, I ended up being a little bit disappointed.
Well, that actually, I was going to say, Ray, I actually heard some reviews that it said that this was just okay.
Yeah.
That was the review.
I kind of think that's a fair assessment. After now having completed the game, that initial excitement for the game wore off, I would say, probably about halfway through. And it started to feel a little bit grindy. I will say that it runs into the problem that Marvel vs. Capcom Infinite ran into, which was, hey, we know that there's this whole movie universe out there, and we know that that's why a lot of people are really getting the Marvel characters now. So Marvel Ultimate Alliance 3 is going to ignore the first two games. This is going to be in a separate universe, and it's going to focus more on those movie characters that you know all about. So here's Guardians of the Galaxy, and we'll give you Wolverine because you have to have Wolverine. But also here's Spider-Man, and here's the Avengers, and those are going to be the main focuses of the game. There's a couple of smaller characters, but here's the Defenders. Here's Luke Cage and Iron Fist and Daredevil from the Netflix shows. They do like an Elsa Bloodstone, which was really weird and came out of nowhere. Again, you did that instead of Blade. I'm like, okay.
I would have loved to have been in that production meeting. Who should we bring in? Elsa Bloodstone.
Who?
It's like the Guardians of the Galaxy. Who? Elsa Bloodstone, man. Legendary vampire.
Yeah, exactly. So there were a couple of question marks, head scratchers, but and they do say they are going to add more characters. They are going to add Blade. They are going to add Cyclops and Colossus and some X-Men via DLC. Yeah. Oh my. But at that point, I feel like I beat the game, and I never need to play this game ever again.
Ooh, so no replayability.
To me, there's not. They try to add an arcade mode where there's challenges. You can try and go for a high score, but it feels tacked on. I also feel that the worst thing this game does that the first two games didn't do, because I don't care this is a reboot, I don't care this is a separate universe, you're always going to be held. You put a 3 in front of it, you're going to be compared to the first two games.
Absolutely. Unless you're Street Fighter.
Yes, but that every time a new Street Fighter comes out, there's something. That's
Street Fighter 2 5.
Right, exactly. Yeah.
That's what they used to do. Go ahead, sorry.
But yeah, so what ended up happening is when you play the game, only the characters you're playing with level up, which is extremely frustrating because it used to be in the other old games is that your whole party would level up, not just the players you're playing with.
Does that mean that if you get too niched into 3 or 4 people, that you have to keep using them?
You're locked in, and that's what ended up happening to me. Is that by the end of the
Pokemon
game,
effect.
by the end, exactly, it's the Pokemon syndrome. By the end of the game, I had Black Panther, Storm, Wolverine, and Scarlet Witch. Were all level 40, and all the Guardians of the Galaxy were still level 7.
Wow. All right, so rapid fire for you, Ray. How long did it take to beat?
Oh, I would say between 10 and 15 hours total. I think
so
there's a sharp difficulty spike in the middle, which was kind of surprising, where you have to kind of go back and grind some levels, which was not fun either.
You had to go back to get more experience points, you mean?
The one thing about the arcade mode is that you could use that as a grindy way to level up your characters. Yeah. And so if you really wanted to go back and level somebody up, you could do that way without advancing the story, but it's not fun.
The thing with replayability outside sports games, which are obvious, is just you got to convince me that it's worth me playing this over a new game.
Right.
And that's why some of the open world games have a high replayability, because you really can't uncover everything. That's why Zelda has high replayability, if you can even get to the end of that game. So 10 to 12 hours for you. So a normal person will take close to 15 to 20.
Right.
Because Ray's a pro gamer that flies through these things. So Ray, a few things I've been thinking about. Yeah. One, and you just reminded me this, and I can't believe this. I think it was 2005, 2006. and I'm sharing this with our whole audience. I came over to your house, and so Ray used to live in his mom's basement, which is like that's exactly where he should live as Geeks Who Like Sports, right? So he was living in his mom's basement, and I walked downstairs, and I think you were playing Marvel Alliance 2. And I don't know why I remember this, but I remember you playing it. I remember you were running around, and it was like an overhead view, right?
Yes.
Kind of thing. So that's how long we've known each other. That's really funny.
Yeah.
Now here's my questions for you, because as you said, I have not played this game. Okay, I'm looking for a new game for my Switch. Okay, so two things. One is I have, and this is not an exaggeration, I have about 36 hours of flights this month.
Okay.
Okay, so I'll be in the air for 36 hours. Is this the game I should be picking up on the Switch?
No.
Okay, wow, that was definitive.
I mean, here's the thing. The great thing about the Switch is there's great stuff coming up all the time. I would say maybe for you, just in terms of your tastes and in terms of what you would most likely enjoy, I do think you would enjoy this for 10 to 15 hours. I do think that you would find something about this to be like, okay, I played this. It's not like the most memorable game, but it was time decently spent, especially also because you have the kids. I will say the one best thing about this is that the local co-op, where you can each play a different up to 4 heroes.
That's cool.
So that is a good thing. It feels more of it's like a more family friendly Marvel Ultimate Alliance as compared to the first two.
What was that game for 64 when you could do that? You had to find the obelisks, and you could be like the barbarian or the wizard.
Gauntlet Legends.
Gauntlet Legends. That was a great game. That was a great game. I remember nostalgia, right? So this game's probably 15 years old now, Gauntlet Legends. But I remember like being excited about when Gauntlet was coming back out because of the original Gauntlet. Now I'm aging myself, but that's okay. Thank you for remembering that. So this is like Gauntlet Legends in that sense. Then you can team up.
You
with your
could have
family
4
and
people
stuff,
playing with you. Yes, correct. I mean, or
Isn't that
one
funny?
person.
I pulled that out of my brain.
Yeah, or one person playing as 4 people, and you can switch between the 4, and you can the computer.
Oh, that's cool.
The computer isn't terrible, but it's not the best either. Also, the only 2 healers in the game are Scarlet Witch and Doctor Strange, and you don't get Scarlet Witch's healing ability until very late, and you don't get Doctor Strange until very late in the game. I also, and in terms of games that you could get right now, and the only reason I've just started it, but this is also more for me, tactical RPG Fire Emblem 3 Houses has just come out. That is a much longer game, a much more involved game. I'm not sure if that, though, would the tactical RPG part I think you would enjoy, but it is a bit anime, so I'm not sure if
I don't mind anime. I like characters I know. I mean, it's like watching a video for me. I mean, I'll tell you this too, like I didn't play the first 2 Marvel Alliance games, so I might actually be okay with this one in the sense of like I don't have any expectations from it because I've never played it before. I honestly wish there were some good sports games on the Switch, but we're not there yet. That would really I'm surprised that hasn't happened yet, to be honest with you.
Yeah.
Because I would love to play and I'm not everybody knows I'm a hockey guy, but I actually prefer to play the other games. I like I always play the NHL games, don't get me wrong, but actually I'd love to play like baseball on the Switch or Madden or something like that.
I mean they have RBI baseball, but RBI baseball just isn't good.
Yeah, that's why I'm not buying it.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So okay, so you're saying yes or no for this trip, should I buy this game?
Ooh.
You can't be in the middle. You got to say yes or no. Is my time better spent doing other things?
I think time is better spent doing other things.
No, that's an honest review.
I think so. I would give Marvel Ultimate Alliance 3 a 6 out of 10 if I was scoring this like I used to at EG.
Well, I was going to say, like, look, so for those of you listening who don't know, Ray used to work for EGM Magazine, and that was his job, was to review video games. How many reviews did you do?
555 over the 10 years of my career.
So when he gives a review, this is a professional review. It's not just something he's doing. You know, that's why I didn't give a review number-wise on the movies, because I didn't work in movies. But that's fair. So there you go.
Yeah, I mean, it's not technically really that broken. It's a competent old-school action RPG. But if you're a fan of the first 2 games like I was, this will be disappointing.
Can I download Gauntlet Legends on the Switch yet?
I don't think Gauntlet Legends is on the Switch yet. So
darn it.
But
I play Ocarina at a time.
Ocarina's back. But you mentioned sports games. We should also mention today. Speaking of video games, today is Madden Day. Madden drops.
Madden Day. Madden 20.
Yes, so that is a big deal. Of course, we had also, we'll get into it a little bit later, the first preseason game for the NFL yesterday. But Madden is out today.
That was a funny game.
I'm sure Madden is out today.
It's out. If it's not, by the time you're listening to this, it's out.
Yes. Yeah. No. Exactly. Yeah. It'll be. Yeah. Yes. Yes. The release date is today. Is officially listed today for PlayStation 4, Xbox One, and PC. Or Microsoft Windows, I should say. Yes. But so we've had ratings. Some people are very happy. Some people not. With 499 ratings in Madden. Aaron Donald of the Rams, Khalil Mack of the Bears, Bobby Wagner of the Seahawks, and the one that I was a little surprised by, the fourth one, DeAndre Hopkins, wide receiver for the Houston Texans. Even though he did have a career year last year, I don't typically think of Hopkins as a 99 when you have guys like Jarvis Landry and Antonio Brown and Julio Jones and Odell Beckham and whatnot out there. So that was a bit surprising.
It makes you wonder. Makes you wonder if they do that on purpose.
Yeah, I mean, I know I met the guy once who did all the ratings for Madden and the process that goes into it. And obviously, the nice thing about Madden now is that these things, they patch it week to week. The numbers actually change on a week-to-week basis.
Yeah, as they should. They should.
But
yeah, very interesting. Did they bring back the mode of like that story mode?
I'm not sure if they brought back a long shot this year. They did it 2 years in a row. I have not played the new Madden yet.
It's weird. It was weird. I played it last year. It's weird.
Yeah, I would say it'd be a good thing if they did not bring back long shot this year because
I just didn't get it. I didn't understand the purpose of it. It's like playing through like a movie. Of like and the storylines are not realistic. That's the problem I had.
Well, I think the first year was actually really interesting. I think the second year.
I'm talking about 19. Yeah, I'm sorry.
Yeah, last year's version was not good.
Yeah, I'm like, this is not how these camps go. Yeah. Listen, I work in football. It does not work like that.
Yeah.
Even I know that. So it's the hyper realism that I would like. I mean. I still would love it. They've never done it, but it would be so cool if they actually. That's not true. NCAA football and Madden did do something at one point where you could connect the two games. Is that right? You could graduate a quarterback from that?
Your college player, once he was ready to go pro, you could import him over to Madden, which I think was a great idea back in the day. And you could have your own kind of story for sure.
Yeah, I'd love for them to do something like that again.
Yeah. So I think that. That's definitely something. Yeah, I don't think there's a long shot mode in NFL 20 this year. I'm looking.
Good. Should be about the football.
Yeah. You basically. So what they've done is it's called. So this actually sounds interesting. It's called Face of the Franchise. You create a college player. You dominate in the college football playoff championship, and then you have to impress the scouts at the combine. You get drafted, and then your created player makes it into the NFL. It's kind of like create a player. They used to have that like way back in the mid 2000s. It sounds like they've kind of tweaked that and brought back in a way. So I definitely think that's a better way to go than long shot. As much as fun as the first year of long shot was, the second year of long shot was definitely a disappointment and way too much of a stretch to be considered realistic.
So this mode, do you get to pick your college, or is it just like you're in generic college A in the national championship?
I think you're just in one. I think you're just in one. You get to pick one of the college football playoff teams from last year.
Really?
So
that's cool.
Yeah. So, and I think that's because it says you start off in the college football playoff. So I imagine you're one of the 4 teams that was in the playoffs last year, and you could probably pick from one of those 4 teams. So
yeah, and you have to win the game. That's cool. I like that because it's realistic. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So like. And that's the thing I'm trying to say is like, you know, like as we get more towards hyper realism with these games, like you're gonna have to start making storylines in these games because like sports games have storylines now. You know, it's a true like that's the idea is to make it a fantasy.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So like, I mean, I don't think we'll ever be in a position where you have to like raise someone from birth to become an NFL player or something like that. It'd be a little weird actually, but. Yeah, I like that. Look, Madden does a great job every year. I mean, they're continuing to grow, and it's funny because, like, do you know what number of game this is? Like, how many Maddens have come out? When's the first one?
Oh, God, 1980, 1990? Has it been?
Right, so this is almost at 30. Then.
I was going to say we're almost at 30 years of Madden, I want to say, because we had...
Actually, this would be 30, wouldn't it? If it's 90, this is 20.
I can't remember because that's So they just celebrated the 25th anniversary a few years ago. So
well, we would know if this was 30 then. So maybe it's not just 30 yet, but It's funny because it's Madden 20 and it might be Madden 30.
Yeah. 98,
So-
or excuse me, 88. 1988 was
88.
actually the first one. So this would be,
Well, then, yeah, we're there.
yeah, this would probably, they were over the 30-year mark. Yeah.
Yeah. Wow. Jeez. Think about that. A video game now is in the 30s. That's unbelievable when you think about it.
I mean, when we say we grew
Yeah.
up with Madden, we literally grew up with Madden.
Yeah.
1988. I mean, it's only a couple years younger than us. So
Well, I mean, yeah. The thing is, like, when you think about it, we went through. There's been a lot of different football games in the early days. A lot. And I remember, Tecmo Bowl, Tecmo Super Bowl, with
Joe Montana, like
Then you had the non NFL games.
yeah,
What was that Bloodsport or what was that game?
yeah, and then of course you had Blitz.
Blitz was great. Blitz
yeah.
was fun.
Yeah.
The Blitz and Hits games had their time. They were really fun.
Yeah,
we
the
actually had a
sports
Blitz machine in my
arcade
high
game
school.
era is over,
Yeah,
unfortunately.
it's long gone, but that was fun. We used to have a Blitz in my high school game.
Yeah.
I used to love to play that. Here's a funny quirk for you, right? Do you know who the quarterback was for the Eagles in Blitz?
McNabb?
No, maybe later on, but the original Blitz was Doug Peterson.
Huh?
Is a little bit of geek sports knowledge. This is the perfect venue for that.
Wow, yeah. How
Doug
about
Peterson.
that?
Yeah, and Ty Detmer or Coy Detmer, one of the Detmer. So
That's right.
That's
Yeah,
pretty funny. Yeah, NBA Jam made a little comeback at one point too, but it's more nostalgia than anything now. NBA
yeah,
Jam's fun.
that's the one exception of something that could actually come out. Actually, a game I'm playing right now, Rage 2, has a download pack where you can get they have the NBA Jam announcer doing play-by-play of all your crazy kills in
That
the
is
game.
great.
So like you light
Boom,
somebody on fire.
shakalaka.
Exactly. Yeah, you blow somebody up. Boom, shakalaka. You light somebody
That's
on
good.
fire. He's on fire. Like it
Wow,
just.
right, that's
it-
actually really good. That's actually a really good impression.
Yeah. It's
Like
it's,
my wife always says, "Not tonight."
Yeah. Oh.
So good. I miss those games, right? He put the boom in his shakalaka.
Yeah.
Could go for a while on those. But yeah, no, the Blitz hits games. But Madden 20 out today or out right now. If you're a football fan, it's a must buy. If you're a sports game fan, it's a must look. If you don't like football, probably shouldn't pick that one up.
Yeah. Yeah, go. There's plenty of other things that are out right now. The new Wolfenstein came out. You've got the new
Yeah, that's
Fire
right.
Emblem game.
I played
expect
Wolfenstein 3D every day growing up. Every day.
Yeah. Yeah, I've
I love Wolfenstein,
I've
yeah.
heard some disappointing things about this one, so I'm curious to play because I loved the first two Wolfensteins that from this recent reboot by
Yeah.
Machine Games.
Yeah, they were good.
So they were very, very good.
Anytime you get to kill Hitler is a good day.
Exactly. So
Or it's German punks from that game.
yeah.
Not all Germans, but just the Nazis.
yes, no. Geeks Who Like Sports is very anti-Nazi.
We 100% anti-Nazi all
Yes.
the time. In fact, we have played every game where you get to kill Nazis. Like
Yes.
that's Call of Duty, Warfare. I love killing Nazis in games.
Yes. Yeah.
Yeah.
It's very satisfying. Like there's nothing else really to say about it.
Definitive.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't even feel bad about it.
Yeah.
I feel bad about killing Goombas sometimes in Mario Brothers, but Nazis, nope,
Nope.
nope. Right? Those turtles, man, they're just hanging out. They're not doing
Yeah.
anything, and you crush them. Right? Nazis, way better. Anyway,
Yeah.
we're getting on a tangent here. So just if you take anything away from this episode, we're not fans of Nazis on the show, and we enjoy killing them in video games as often as humanly possible.
Yes.
And if you have a problem with that, please stop listening. We don't need you here.
So Madden today is out. Madden, some interesting players there who got 99 ratings, a little surprising, but I think it looks good. I think obviously cover athlete is Patrick Mahomes of the Chiefs, and moving from
Kermit
now,
the Frog here from the Chiefs.
yeah,
Speaks like Kermit the Frog. It's really weird.
moving from video game football to real life football. Football
Real-life football.
season is officially here.
Thank the gods.
Yeah.
It's not. If you listen to last week's episode, again, like I just cannot stand the dog days of summer. Again, it's nothing against baseball or some of the other. It's just so horrible. It's horrible. and like now here's the funny thing. Last night's game was horrible.
It was bad.
The football
yeah.
game was really bad, but thank goodness there's something else on.
Yeah, you had the one the Broncos beat the Falcons 14-10. It was just all the backups. It's the Hall of Fame game. I don't even think Matt Ryan played at all for the Falcons.
No, Matt Ryan didn't play, and what's his name didn't play on the Broncos either.
Yeah,
Drew Lock played. Yeah, I know that.
So everybody, it's really just shaking the rust off. The teams, of course, that are in the Hall of Fame game, basically they have a 5th preseason game, so it's really just a chance for the coaches to kind of like let the backups get a little more play time to see if they can make the team and whatnot, the 53-man roster.
They weren't. No one was trying to kill themselves last night. I mean, It was interesting to see Drew Lock play. I mean, he looked horrendous, to be honest with you. But it's his first game. I mean, you never ever judge these guys in games like this. He's not throwing those top receivers, and he's never thrown a ball in the NFL before. So
yeah, no, exactly. So it takes time. The refs, it was the first challenge of a pass interference call, so that got to be tested out. So I guess that is something significant that came from last night's game.
Sure.
But yeah, I mean, football season's back officially. Everything really going to start getting underway next week. I know the Giants play the Jets in their first preseason game, the traditional, obviously, Meadowlands Bowl or whatever you want to call it. The Giants.
We have the Titans on Thursday. Eagles have Titans.
Yeah, all next Thursday, basically, you're going to start seeing the rest of the teams play some games. So that is good. But yeah, football season's here. We're excited. I think everybody out there is excited. It's not going to be a good year for my Giants. I think it'll be a good year for Lee's Eagles. But we will see, because as Chris Berman always says, that's why they play the game. So there is that. And then even though it is the dog days of summer, I know Lee is not the biggest fan of this, but we did have the Major League Baseball trade deadline.
We did. But before we get to that, I want to hear the song that I like to hear. Do you know this song? Fly Eagles Fly, Ray. Oh. Do you know Fly Eagles Fly? No? Okay, we won't do it. How about the 8-bit version? This is the Geeks Who Like Sports. If you could see Ray's face right now, he has got his head down with his fingers on his forehead. On the road to victory, hit 'em low, hit 'em high, and watch my Eagles fly. Ray, fly, Eagles fly. On the road to victory. Don't ruin it, Ray. E-A-G-L-E-S, Eagles! Oh, it's playing again, Ray. It's playing again.
No, it's not. No, it's not. No, turn it on. No. Am I going to have to deal with this for the next 26 weeks?
Listen. There has never been a better audio taken than an 8-bit version of the Fly Eagles Fly song on this show. That was built for this show. The people who made that don't even know that was made for this moment today.
Yeah. This moment and only this moment. Never to be played again here.
Oh, no, Ray, all I have to do is just hit the play button. All right, I won't do that to you. All right, very excited for the Eagles this season. Hopefully our quarterback doesn't get injured and ruin the entire year. Anyway, because we don't have a miracle backup anymore, unless Nate Sudfeld wants to pull that off. Anyway, yeah, listen, football's back, or coming back. As we move slowly towards the best months of the year, the fall, which is in the sports world the best months of the year, in my opinion. Mm-hmm. And I'm very excited about that. But yeah, aside from that, just the baseball trade deadline happened. Ray, I'll let you comment a little bit on that. There's just not much going on the sports side right now. It's just not a great time of year for that, unless you're into like sports that people don't typically watch.
Yeah, I mean, there was a couple of big trades at the deadline, but I don't think it was nearly as climactic as baseball fans, and that baseball had hoped. This year, baseball is doing something different. They had a hard trade deadline on July 31st.
Yep.
Typically, there's a second trade deadline on August 31st, which is called non-waiver trade deadline. That's been done away with. The hope was to build excitement, because this is the dog days of summer, and this is baseball's chance to really get people excited for the home stretch of the season, and not lose everybody to football and hockey and basketball, which has kind of been happening over the years. There's been a decline since 2012. There's been a steady decline in baseball viewership and attendance, and people are worried. So this was kind of a one way to try and do it, and it was, of course, as baseball has done the past 10 years, they messed it up. It because of the addition of the second wild card, there's a lot more teams that feel they're in it still. So you had teams that refused to sell. You also had teams that have put way too much stock in their farm systems, including the Yankees. and who refuse to give away their quote-unquote future. Because for some reason, it only seems like there's 3 teams in a win-now mentality. One of those being the Houston Astros, who did make the big trade of the day. They got Zach Greinke from the Arizona Diamondbacks. And honestly, at this point, you should just give them the World Series trophy, because with their rotation of Verlander and Cole and Greinke, I don't see anybody really stopping them, at least in the American League. Even my Yankees, I really honestly believe that at best we'll lose in the American League Championship Series to the Astros. If you're a Dodgers fan, you're going to lose to the Astros in the World Series.
I was just going to say the only teams pacing with Houston I'm looking at the standings for the Yankees and the Dodgers right now. But here's the thing, Ray. This is what I'll tell you. You're not wrong at all. I'm not trying to negate your point. This is more of a devil's advocate point. Mm-hmm. But the wild card teams have been winning the World Series a lot. Yeah. I mean, don't get me wrong, dude. I'm not saying that a team that's dominating can't dominate through the playoffs. But if they hit, I'll give you a very long shot, and I'm saying this half serious, but half kidding. You have to look at the Phillies. Okay, if that rotation gets really hot, the pitching rotation gets really hot at the right time, anything can happen. And I could say that about a lot of teams in wild card spots right now, because there's a 3-way tie for the wild card spots in the NL right now.
Right.
Okay. So one of those teams is going to get hot and one of them's not. You know what I mean? So let me ask you this question. Just this is more of an overall baseball question. Is one of the things that and I'm not a baseball traditionalist. I'll say that. Okay. Mm-hmm. But I don't understand why the season goes as long as it does. I don't necessarily think they should shorten the season at the end. I actually think they should start later. Because I go back and forth on this. Because here's the thing. You can't take away October. All right, you just can't. That's not something that will ever change, and I acknowledge that. I think it's always a little weird that they play this sport through the summer, and then you get into October, and the weather could be really bad for the whole month.
Yeah.
And I never understood that. I never understood why you would change the factors of the game that late in the year. So I mean, here's the thing: sometimes it does go through October, and it should end in October. That's my
I think that that's definitely a problem. I disagree. Yeah. I think they should shorten the season. They should shorten it from the tail end so that the World Series is done by October 14th. Okay.
Well, how about this? How about a little bit of both then, right? You could easily take off 2 to 3 weeks at the end of the season and start it 2 weeks later. And you're taking a month off the season. And I already know the arguments about revenue and stuff like this, but here's the deal. It's too long. It's too long. Yeah. The other thing too is you can make this argument the hockey season too. People do all the time. But the difference between hockey and baseball is there's 16 teams that make it. And then there's bubble teams. So at least 2/3 of the league are in the hunt every year towards the end of the season. Well, until the second wild card thing, it hasn't been that way.
I was gonna say one of the things that really baseball needs to do is they need to expand the playoffs. I think
that would change this dramatically.
Shorten the regular season and expand the playoffs. And I think now part of that might also be you might have to expand from 30 to 32 teams. I know there's been talks about bringing a team back to Montreal, not just splitting time between the Rays in Tampa and Montreal. Go back and listen to the previous episodes.
Yeah, they're definitely testing the market.
Yeah, I'm talking a legit team in Montreal, and then you put a team in Vegas, Memphis.
Yeah.
Vancouver, somewhere else.
There's plenty of places that want a team.
Portland, there's plenty of other places that would love having a baseball team. But Omaha, giving them their only professional sports team, that'd be huge. Omaha is the home of the College World Series. It's a huge baseball town. But I think that
they would support it too. They would support it.
If the season got, I would actually look to hockey in some ways, Lee. I would look to hockey and football. Expand to 32 teams. Instead of having 6 divisions, you have 4 divisions, not 8 football. You have 4 8-team divisions, and then you at the very least you have, because you still want the division winner to mean something. You can still you kind of do a football playoff thing where the division winners automatically get byes, and then you have 4 one-game wild card playoffs. You have 4 teams from each league are wild card teams. They each play 1 game against each other, and then they advance it against the division winners. This way, everybody's still in it. You have a lot of excitement, and you have more.
Think about the broadcast. The broadcast watch. How many people would watch that? I'd watch every game. You'd be sold out every game, right? Mm-hmm. I mean, you could even, if you really want to push it, you could even go best of 3 or something like that if you really want more revenue.
Yeah.
Okay. I'm not sure how I feel about one-game playoffs outside of football, but I'm not trying to like reconstruct baseball. The problem with baseball is they're so stuck in the traditionalist way. I mean, like hockey's always been the trailblazer in terms of, yeah, we'll go to 32 teams, we'll change our divisions, we'll change the playoffs. They just do it. They're not afraid to change.
Yeah.
Keeping in mind that at one point in the NHL they had 6 teams. Okay, not too long.
For a very long time.
It's not as long as you think, and when you compare it to the other sports, right? Like it was 1967 when they got, and they just doubled. They just went to 12.
Yep.
It
created the whole Western Conference.
Yeah. So it's just one of those things of just I love baseball. I really do. As a fan, I'm not as an athlete, as a fan. I don't get to say that too often, but it's just too much. It's just like I said. I remember, look, I grew up a Phillies fan. Right, the Phillies are the losingest team in baseball history statistically. They have lost more games than any other franchise in sports history. Okay, so it's like, and I remember this. Like now we've won a World Series obviously since that time period. But like what I remember growing up, I remember going to the Veterans Stadium. Early in the season, and the first pitch was a home run against us. Like that was what it was like to be a Phillies fan. And I remember that. I remember turning to my dad, wow, the first pitch was a home run. And it's like, yep. He goes, that's the Phillies. Right? So here's the thing. It's like, October wasn't a thing for me until the Phillies got really good again, in 2008, 2007 time period. I didn't understand. If you're a Yankees fan, you grew up on this. If you're your age, okay, like I said, obviously there's times in the '80s, but I don't want to hear any crap from Yankees fans about how tough it was. You have no idea. So my point to you is this: you knew by this time of the year if you're in it or not, because the Phillies were always horrible, right? It's like, why would I want to watch? I don't want to watch. Then I'm just sitting around waiting for the playoffs to start, and I'm not invested in any of those teams. Right, so what I'm saying is, I just, from a business point of view, I don't understand why they don't look at this, or if they have looked at it, why they don't do it. And what are we getting? We're getting instant replay.
Yeah.
Thanks.
Well, I will say that I think this is also partially that I didn't think that anybody could be worse than Bud Selig as commissioner, but at least it feels like Bud Selig did care about baseball. He might not have made the best.
He definitely
decisions,
did.
But he cared.
He cared. I believe that.
Yeah. He may not have made all the right decisions, but he cared. I don't think Rob Manfred cares about baseball. I look at that guy and I'm just like, you're just a corporate shill. Like you're just like, you have no passion for this sport. And I don't understand why you're the guy in charge. So I right now, as an unemployed individual, would like to let baseball know I am available to become your new commissioner to fix the game of baseball.
Yeah, I would love to see Commissioner Carcillo at a Mets-Yankees game over the one, just how that would turn out. But as long as I can be up there with you, that's all that matters with me. I want to be. Oh yeah,
you'll take over the Joe Torre position. You'll be assistant.
No, I want to be NHL Bam. I want to take over the digital marketing so I can finally. Anyway, no, I will say this is that it is the one thing Selig didn't do. Selig is that. I really thought when he stepped down he was going to put Pete Rose in the Hall of Fame.
Yeah.
The ban. I thought that was going to be his closing things, but it's very clear to me now they're going to wait till he dies if they do it at all.
Yeah.
Which really is a shame. And I understand the zero tolerance. I really do. But it's just, if there's ever been an exception. Anyway, moving on. Baseball season. I'll say this: we're in August now. We got it gets really exciting about 3 weeks from now.
Yeah, business, as good old JR used to say, business is about to pick up.
Yeah, actually, when we're in Seattle, we're going to be really looking at this because it's going to be a fun time a year. And when we're in Seattle, we're going to talk a little bit about the expansion franchise out there, what's going to be going on there, among other things. But right now, we're talking about baseball and Madden and football and something other than just nothing, which is great.
Yeah. Yeah, so speaking again of Madden, it's time now for our mashup. And the mashup of this week. The mashup of this week. The mashup for this week is, so as good as there's some of the players were and happy about their 99 ratings and whatnot, there of course every year are players who are very mad about their ratings. And we even had a coach this year who was furious about how his character model looked. The Arizona Cardinals' new coach, Kingsbury or whatever.
Yeah, I saw that.
Thought his model looked like somebody from The Walking Dead. So there's a lot of people out there not happy about their Madden ratings.
Well, wait, just to quote Sopranos. Oh, poor you. Are you in a video game? You don't like the way you look at a video game? Give me a break.
Oh, man.
Lucky to be in the game.
Yeah, and then, of course...
They used to just be generic coaches. Sorry, remember that used to be generic coaches? They all looked like Andy Reid?
Yeah.
Every one of them. Come on.
Oh god, yeah. There was 3 body types. It was Andy Reid, Bill Parcells, and like Sean Payton, and like that was it.
Yeah.
Like, but yeah. So we decided to look at what other characters in geekdom would not be happy, or we really would just get a low, underrated score in Madden. So Lee, I know you had a great one to kick us off with this. Who would be a low, underrated character if they got a Madden rating?
So Ray, when I did this, I looked into the video game annals of history. And I wanted to pick someone that was not like someone who's honestly overlooked all the time, but that did something unbelievable. Okay? And I thought deeply about this. Okay? About who is the most underrated Nintendo character of all time. And the answer is Little Mac from Mike Tyson's Punch-Out!, who got a horrendous rating in whatever fake Madden game we're talking about. This man, little man, I might say, who looks very stubbly and short, defeated the greatest boxing champion of all time in Mike Tyson, a man that if he hit you once would knock you out. And you had to do 100,000 punches on this guy flawlessly to win. He did it. He should have a very high Madden ranking, and he doesn't. Now listen to the somber sounds of Punch-Out!. Okay, I'm just kidding. You can keep going.
Yeah. Okay. No, thank you. Yeah. So this was a very hard one for me, right? Because there's a lot of characters who, on the surface, really there isn't much there, right?
Yeah.
You could argue that Mario's just a plumber from Brooklyn, and
but he gets a great rating though. See, everybody gives him a really high rating though. That's what I would say.
Right.
Yeah.
I mean, but that's the thing. You could also say there's also Samus Aran from Metroid, who never gets any love because I don't know because she's a woman or because it's hard to do a good Metroid game. Because
breakthrough person too. Like that character never gets enough credit for what she did. I mean,
no. It was a big deal when she took her helmet off and it was a girl underneath back in 1987. Huge. And, for her to take on all the space pirates and to take down Mother Brain and to still, she hasn't had her own good game in half a decade. She hasn't had her own good game. Not that wasn't a remake, by the way. They did remake Metroid 2 for the 3DS, but that's a remake of a game from 25 years ago or 30 years ago. Yeah. So, but she hasn't had. You haven't had a Metroid Prime game now in 15 years.
Weird. Yeah,
right.
It's weird that she hasn't come back.
Yeah, and we know we have a Metroid Prime 4 in development, but who knows how long that's going to take. So yeah, I think that similar to we really need another Punch-Out!. We need another Metroid. We need another Samus. I think Samus is going to get overlooked, and Samus is going to get a bad rating, one that she doesn't deserve, and that she should fight harder for a better overall Madden rating. I think so. That Samus Aran is my pick.
Yeah. No, can I throw another name in the list?
Sure.
This is someone who in previous games would have had one of the highest rankings of all time, but due to recent developments, the ranking has dropped. And I think it's someone that because of something that happened, the ranking has dropped, but still a very, very powerful character, Ray. Okay? And it needs to come back. And it needs to come back good. Tell me what this is. Let's see if it happens. Of course, it's taking its time. I'll do another one. Here we go.
Oh, Sonic.
Sonic has a horrendous rating right now because that stupid
Sonic
movie preview.
Yeah.
I'll pull that away.
Sonic hasn't had a good game. Sonic, another one who's been around but hasn't had a good game in 15 years.
Right. Should I play the Sonic dubstep? They have a dubstep version of this. Yeah. I won't make your ears bleed with this.
Actually, I will say Sonic Mania was good. Sonic Mania was good, but for the most part, that's the aberration now. And most Sonic games are so bad that people don't think of Sonic as a really good character anymore.
Which is horrible. Like Sonic was it Generations? What was the one where you meet old Sonic? I think it was
Sonic Generations. Right? Sonic Generations was solid.
That was a great game. So for those of you who haven't played that game, like it when it takes place, it's you're Sonic but you're older, and you have to interact with actually younger versions of yourself. So like when you meet the 16-bit Sonic, he doesn't speak. It's really funny. You know what I mean? It was actually a really cool game. But I love things like that. But Sonic's another character that's kind of like gone away, and like you can tell that the people making that video have really damaged the brand. But they might be able to recover. They honestly might be able to recover if they. I
think Sonic Mania is a good start. I think I think they have to look. You have to abandon the idea of 3D Sonic. You just have to.
Yeah.
He's gonna, and there's nothing wrong with that. It's perfectly, because here's the thing, right? Something that I learned that was very, very interesting. I watched an old interview with Reggie Fils-Aimé, the former head of Nintendo of America. He just retired. But when he first talked about the significance of Mario 64 and the difficulty that you need in terms of doing precision jumps in the 3D space, which is why Mario 64 and even later 3D platformers, they had to be a little forgiving. And I think that Sonic never really got that. I think it tried to be, because it's so hard to do that when you're going fast.
Yeah, exactly. Like that's not the game, right? Like Mario's a totally different world. All right, like this game, you have to be moving fast, and if you can't give the illusion of going super duper fast in a Sonic game, and keep in mind too, like one of the things about the 2D Sonic that made it feel fast was the background was moving too. All right, so like Sonic didn't move that much faster than Mario, but when you add in like layers of backgrounds, the background would move super fast. Yeah, and it made you feel like it. Especially
it was an illusion of speed. It's an illusion of speed. Yeah.
Yeah, but the illusion is fine because that's what the game was. So I mean, if they would release here's a left field idea, right? Everybody loves Super Mario Maker. Why don't you make a Sonic Maker game? You know what I mean? Think about how fun that would be. You know what I mean? Like you can do that. The villains are fun enough. Like, so yeah, it's something to think about. I mean, interestingly enough, but I think Sonic, he will return. He always does. I mean, like Crash Bandicoot came back somehow.
Yeah.
There's another guy that probably deserves a better rating.
Yeah, that's true. I mean, the Crash Bandicoot remake, the remastered games, was actually very good as well.
Is that what I should get on the Switch?
Yeah, I think actually you would enjoy that.
I do. I loved it when I was a kid. I remember playing on PlayStation.
Yeah, if you loved it as a kid, you probably would want to probably pick up the remastered versions. And again, that's something that when you get back, you can play with Logan and Alina. So
yeah, see, I have two. I have to fly out to the West Coast from the East Coast twice, so 4 times. So I gotta make sure. 2 of them are to meet you.
Yeah.
Right?
Hey, buddy.
And then you're gonna be here. Actually, we can do an episode live from Philadelphia too while you're here.
That's right. That's what I was thinking. I will be going back east and towards the end of September, and I will be spending the day with Lee and the family. And we could do it means you have to wait an extra day for us, folks, but we could do a live episode then. Yeah.
Yes, and I will fortify my plans to kidnap you to keep you on the East Coast.
Wait, what?
Kidding. No one's joking. What? Anyway, this has been a fun episode.
This has been a fun episode. We got a lot done today. Usually we focus on just like a couple of big topics, but this one we got a nice hodgepodge because there is a lot going on. So we got a couple of games, we got a movie, a TV show, we got some baseball, some football. Man, look at everything you guys get when you listen to Geeks Who Like Sports.
You should keep listening.
Much here. You guys should subscribe to us on Apple Podcasts and Google Podcasts, and you should write to us on our Gmail, geekswhoLikeSports@gmail.com, and tell us.
Website. We got a website too.
And we have a website called geekswhoLikeSports.com. You should visit that and subscribe to our YouTube channel.
Be shameless, Ray. Be shameless about it. Geeks Who Like Sports. Follow us, like us, tell your friends, tell your mother, tell your sister, tell your brother, tell everyone, your father too.
And don't forget, we will be at PAX. We will be at PAX West. We have a panel Friday, August 30th, 9:30 at night at the Hilton, the Hyatt,
in Seattle. Yep.
In Seattle, it's the hotel across the street from the convention center. Yeah. But we're very excited about that. Hopefully, the official schedule for PAX will be coming out shortly. And we're gonna have some great guests. We're gonna have Gordon Bellamy, former. He used to work at EA Sports, now a professor at USC. We have Duncan Stanley, used to work at Deep Silver. We've got some great folks who are gonna be there. We're going to be talking about. We're gonna be doing Geeks Who Like Sports live. It's live when we do it anyway, but it's for the people there. It's gonna be live.
Yeah. I want to make it like a 50s show. Like, you're tuned into a live studio audience in front of Geeks Who Like Sports. 2 schmucks that got lucky.
Yeah. I could do that as the intro.
Listen, we're traditionally trained in radio. That's why this probably works so well. But I think we should do that. Actually, I can do the 20s voice. Coming to you live from above Seattle. It's Lee and Ray with Geeks Who Like Sports.
Yeah. We're going to have some fun. We're going to have some fun when we're in Seattle. So if you're in the Seattle area, definitely come on down, check out the panel. We would love to have you because we're also going to have a Q&A. We're going to have
Absolutely. It's going to be fun.
Yeah, we're going to do it. It'll be a slightly shorter show. Instead of a mailbag, we're going to have a live Q&A at the end. So definitely tune in and stay tuned. We've got a lot of other great stuff coming on the way. We're looking into getting our first guests for Geeks Who Like Sports.
Yeah,
we won't tell you who they are until we lock them down. But
they're human.
But
I said they're human.
They are human. They are human beings. Yes.
Here's a little hint for you guys. Both of my dogs have guest appeared on every single show that we've done right now. I'm looking at them both sleeping in front of me now.
Yeah. But yeah, so it's a good time. It's a great time to be a geek. It's a great time to be a sports fan. It's a great time to be a geek who likes sports. So thank you to everybody for listening. Again, geekswholikesports.com. Find us wherever you can get podcasts, Spotify, Google Play, Apple Podcasts, SoundCloud. Go to the website. The whole list is there.
If you listen to podcasts on something else and you don't find us, let us know. We'll be there too soon.
Yes, because I will. we will go. We will find a way to get there. So, So for Lee, I'm Ray. This has been episode 17 of Geeks Who Like Sports. We will talk to you more next week. Bye bye, everybody.